Hi, everyone. Glad to have you here with us today for a very, very special treat. We're excited to have Dr. Rice-Spearman joining us today for the first ever second-time guest. First ever second-time guest. I want to make sure I get it right because it's a big deal, Dr. Rice-Spearman. Thanks for taking your time today to be with us. We appreciate you.
Happy to be here, Megan. Thank you for the invitation.
So since last we spoke, you got a bit of a promotion, I suppose we could say. We got to call you interim president last time, so now we'll call you President Lori Rice-Spearman. I do want to mention the 9th president and the first female president in the Texas Tech University system. First of all, big congratulations to you. So many people excited for you. You want to tell us a little bit about what you've been up to since that big day?
Well, the big day was officially June the 5th, and I'm very fortunate because I was already working with this leadership team as the interim as we've navigated the pandemic. And so we have already been doing some of the things that we plan on continuing to do as we get on the other side of the pandemic. I realize we've had a little bit of a blip this last week, an increase in cases, and so we are responding to that as a university across all of our campuses. But many of the things that we have in place as a leadership team, we are going to continue to do, and that is collaborate, communicate, over-communicate with each other, with our campuses, with our team members, whether they be faculty, staff, or students, and just continuing to keep the safety and health of our university as our priority.
I mean, I think that is worth mentioning, that you sort of got a crash course in crisis management. And, do you feel like COVID has prepared you for leading the university in certain aspects?
Oh, absolutely. I had the opportunity to see what we could accomplish when we all became very aligned to a single mission across all of our schools, all of our campuses, how we began communicating with each other, listening to what best practices, borrowing from each other, whether it be even through our university, but our sister universities, Angelo State and Texas Tech and our newest possible member, Midwestern. These teams have been meeting weekly, sometimes daily, listening to each other and making sure that we're aligned and that we are being as responsive as we can and borrowing best practices from each other.
The word fluid has been used so much, and you have to be fluid, you have to be innovative, and you have to be flexible, right?
Right.
I think that is a cornerstone of probably what you've learned as well.
Right. So our university in particular was poised to be able to pivot. And I use that word a lot because we already had a well-established learning management system. So we were able to pivot pretty quickly with our traditional curriculum into online delivery. We already had the beginning foundation of telehealth. So it allowed us to pivot quickly in delivering healthcare. I think I've shared this statistic already, but we increased our telehealth delivery over 5,000% in a 6-week period. And so we as a university had some foundation in place that allowed us to quickly adjust and provide care and education under this umbrella of the pandemic in ways that other universities are still struggling to do that. So we are in a very wonderful and unique position.
Well, I want to get into your areas of focus that you mentioned in your address. The first one is telehealth.
Right.
An area that I think probably most of the country didn't realize the importance until the last few months, right? So now we're going to really see an uptick in telehealth use. How are you going to make sure that we continue to sort of lead the charge in telehealth?
So, Megan, you're going to hear me use the word a lot, if you've not already, transformational, because we feel like we have the foundation and the expertise now and evidence-based practice of how to deliver transformational telehealth. And really, that's a very comprehensive approach because it doesn't just include telemedicine, it includes telemedicine using personal medical devices. And how do we push healthcare access and high quality healthcare into the communities we serve? We feel like we are going to be able to develop the models that the rest of the nation will turn to and say, this is a model that works in this environment, so we know that we can translate that model into our environment. So we know that we have the potential to be the national leaders in transformational telehealth. And that includes telecounseling, teletherapies in the areas of occupational therapy and physical therapy. So it's a very comprehensive approach that we are going to take. And we are going to develop an entire team focused on developing this transformational telehealth across our university. How do we push telehealth into our curriculum? You know, do we want to be the only health sciences center in the nation where our students leave this institution having a very strong background in how to deliver telehealth? Many universities found that they've had practitioners and clinicians who had no idea the first step and all the legal issues around that and what's involved in it. So we want to be the leaders in that. We want other individuals to turn and look to us about training, education, and practice.
Do you think that your sort of rural upbringing has really lended itself to making this a priority for people?
Absolutely. So, you know, my story is that when I was 3 years old, I had to have a critical surgery, and there was not a pediatric surgeon anywhere because of the nature of the seriousness of what I had. My family was faced with a decision of, and it was a life-threatening decision. Do we take our chances and get in the car and drive to Fort Worth to Cook's Children's, or do we try to figure out a way to get this pediatric surgeon flown into Odessa, Texas? And thankfully, they were able to get the surgeon into Odessa because I was only 3 and they were worried about just the transporting alone. And I was able to get that surgery very quickly. And my outcome was very positive. I still carry the scar of that surgery to this day. So but I experienced that again and again, pardon me, through various family members throughout my life who would have serious conditions that couldn't be addressed from a family practitioner perspective and would need specialty care. And we always knew that part of our solution was going to be someone in our family having to travel with that individual to get that health care and the disruption that it caused the whole family and having to access that. So I am acutely aware of the challenges around access and quality of care. So I'm very committed to making sure that we are taking care of our communities where we are, Amarillo, the Permian Basin, Abilene. It's just so critical, the role that we play in those communities.
Absolutely, for sure. You want to talk about your second focus, and that's research. And I think that research is always such an exciting thing to talk about. How are you going to really ramp up research at all of our campuses?
So research, for us to survive and thrive, the word I like to use is thrive. For us to thrive within research, we're going to have to think differently. It's no secret that NIH funding is shrinking. The competition for that is becoming more and more challenging. So we are going to have to think about it as an institution. How do we thrive in this environment? And the only way that we're going to thrive is through collaboration and thinking completely differently about how we approach it, how we manage it within our university. Do we have the infrastructure in place? We're going to build that so that our researchers have a team around them that allows them to thrive and to easily collaborate. The traditional way that research has been done is not a model that's going to support what the collaboration that we are going to need. And so we're going to spend the next 12 to 18 months probably completely re-looking at how we fund, how we support research in a way that emphasizes and really pushes collaboration with our other sister universities within our university itself. We've got some work to do on breaking down silos and really getting folks around tables and thinking completely differently about how we approach research.
There have been a couple of instances in the last several months of collaboration efforts within the system that I've found to be very inspiring. And they were sort of grassroots collaborations too. So it sort of feels like people are poised to do that, right?
Absolutely. And so my goal is to make sure that those barriers don't come back up.
Mhm.
I like to tell people that the pandemic allowed us to throw open the door, bring down the barriers, and roll up our sleeves and get to collaborating. And my goal is to make sure that those doors don't close, those barriers don't come back up. We figured out how to do it. Now let's just keep moving forward. And sometimes, as universities, we are measured by how our research dollars. And so a lot of the barriers around collaboration is who gets credit for what. And through the pandemic, we were so concerned about individuals' health and safety that we let some of those things go. But that's still a reality of how we're going to be measured as a university. So we have to find that. We have to find that place of how do we make sure that everyone still gets the credit that they need to get, because that impacts our rankings, but that we don't let those barriers come back.
Awesome. Now you touched on it a little bit earlier, but academic programming and sort of, using simulation, using online learning to really advance TTUHSC. You want to talk more about that and what your plans are there?
So our academic program directors are beginning to see that COVID and the pandemic is not going away anytime soon. And so perhaps our move from a traditional curriculum face-to-face to online is beginning to feel less and less temporary, and like it's going to need to have a long-term strategy around it. And so we have some very successful online programs that already exist. Our online nursing program, very high quality. Our online master's degree in healthcare administration is ranked in the top 10 in the nation. Our online programming and counseling that embeds telehealth. All of these programs already exist, which are some of them first in the nation programs. So we know that we have the expertise here within our university. So it's really an opportunity for some of our face-to-face programs to say, okay, this isn't going away anytime soon. This is not a temporary fix. How do we become this strong academic hybrid program that allows us to still have high quality, our students still be ranked nationally, and we develop a product, which is a graduate, that is highly sought after. And I think we have the ability to do that right here.
I think too that it will be really valuable to, as far as recruiting goes, because as the students change and as their landscape changes, we want to change with them, right?
Right. So we were established to serve the people of West Texas. And what we found with some of our innovative academic programming is there are students in areas all over the nation, all over the world, that have limited access to education, just like they have limited access to healthcare. So for example, our online laboratory sciences program, we have students that come from Alaska who participate in this hybrid program. So they do all of their academic preparation online, and then they come to Texas Tech for these intense laboratory sessions once each semester that meet all requirements according to the accrediting body. And they then in turn go back to Alaska to practice. And interestingly enough, that particular program has become, has a very high reputation in the state of Alaska for them getting their academic and their programming and their education. So those are examples of how we develop the model and become the national leader in that innovative academic programming.
I love that. That is so cool. That's something so exciting to be a part of, for sure. You know what else is exciting to be a part of, Dr. Rice-Spearman? The lightning round.
Uh-oh, here we go.
Do you need to take a swig of tea or anything to prepare for the lightning round?
I will. Okay.
Tip-top shape. Okay. Now then, you know the rules. You just have to answer quickly. These are kind of weird questions. Now then, we've already asked you this, but we do have to do a check-in.
Okay.
Crunchy or smooth?
I'm still crunchy.
Okay.
Megan, I know you have issues around smooth peanut butter, but this girl will always be crunchy.
We forgive you. Okay, question number 2. What is something that you like to do the old-fashioned way?
Okay, let me see if I can find it here. I don't have one on my desk. I still like to read a good book, like a hardcover book. I have the Kindle. I have all that stuff on my iPad. I'm just a book girl. I am.
That's good. That's good. Next one, what's the strangest Amazon order that you've received at home while social distancing?
Okay, well, the one I'll share is I like smoothie straws. You know, the
The
big
big one.
straws.
Yes.
Yes. So I thought I was ordering a package, but let me share with you. I now have a case of large smoothie straws. Should anyone across the university need a smoothie straw, I'm happy to share. I think I have hundreds of them now. But yes, a nice big fat smoothie straw.
That is a hoot. You're going to get some requests.
Oh, I'm happy to fulfill them.
Okay. What is your spirit animal?
Oh, bluebird, blue jay.
Oh, how come?
Yeah, always has been. They protect their nest. They mate for life. They're tenacious. They're very single-minded in a goal and purposeful, and that just anybody who knows me know that that's very aligned with who I am.
I love that. That's wonderful. I've had one hanging around my backyard all summer long. So that's kind of cool. That's cool. Pineapple on your pizza. Is that a yes or an absolutely no?
That's an absolutely no.
Okay. You're an absolutely no for beans in your chili too, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No beans.
Okay.
Yeah.
There are some things we cannot sway from. Okay. Last question. Which song would you consider to be the soundtrack of your life?
What a Wonderful World.
Oh.
Yeah, that quote hangs in our home in New Mexico, and that's just always been. I just love that song.
Well, that is wonderful. What a nice way to end our expert chat today. Dr. Lori Rice-Spearman, President Lori Rice-Spearman, thank you for being with us today. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Megan. It's such an honor to serve with this team.